gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November the 14th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day presented by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, we must begin today with conversation about Miami's victory at Georgia Tech on Saturday. A win is a win, man, and everything kind of came together for the Hurricanes. I thought Josh Gaddis had a phenomenal game plan for Jakari Brown. Didn't really ask him to do too much, kept it very manageable for him. And Jakari did a great job running the offense. There were no blips. People were lining up properly. The plays were getting called right. And it was just basically kept simple for him so his mind wouldn't be racing. And against the Georgia Tech team that obviously is not in a good place right now, they've lost their head coach. They're playing a young quarterback who clearly is not really ready to play. He kept throwing the ball to Cam Kinchins. Good for Cam, who I believe now leads the nation in interceptions. And you know, all in all, it was exactly what the doctor ordered for the Miami Hurricanes, who needed a victory to get to 5-5. And now they got to win one of these last two. Obviously, the odds are stacked against them going to Clemson. So the game against Pitt is probably going to be for all the marbles, so to speak, in terms of having a 500 record this year and going to a bowl game. And Matt, I know these aren't the happiest of times having had it come to this, but I thought that the win at Georgia Tech Saturday was really what these kids needed. It was a pick-me-up.
Who won the game?
Canes.
Oh, I fell asleep in the second quarter. That's why I was asking. So yeah, look, Jakari. You know me. You guys out there, gals out there, whatever you want to be called. I just call it like I see it. Josh Gaddis. I've been very hard on Josh Gaddis, and it's easy in this game also to say that Josh Gaddis was running a very simple offense, did nothing that an offense coordinator needed to do that, you know, that somebody who plays Madden 3 times a week could probably have come up with the exact same game plan he did. And all those criticisms might be fair, but you have to give him credit for making Jakari comfortable in his very first start, because this could have blown up. This could have been a bad game for Jakari, trying to throw the ball down the field and run a wide open offense and do maybe some of the things that Miami fans were hoping Jakari could show in his first start. And maybe it wouldn't have gone so well. And look, you know me, I don't care about the wins and losses right now. I want the team to look good. Whether you win or lose, look good doing it. Whatever it is, like I want improvement. And I think we saw enough from Jakari to be optimistic. You know, not necessarily about beating Clemson, okay? But optimistic that he has the requisite skills to where if he continues on that upward trajectory that you would hope he will continue upon, they could be a very, very good quarterback, perhaps even a great quarterback down the road. Because, you know, if he was an ice cream flavor, he'd be Rocky Road, because he's got everything. There's not, you know, Rocky Road has every marshmallows and nuts and, you know, every ice cream flavor imaginable mixed into one thing. Like, he can do everything. There's nothing he can't do. Strong arm, can run the ball, you know, can basically just, I mean, you name something a quarterback in the NFL does, he can do it. You know, does he need to perfect his accuracy? Of course. He's not an accurate quarterback right now. We're not going to lie and say he is. There's a reason why he only threw 2 passes that were over 20 yards and why 10 of his 19 attempts were not only either at the line of scrimmage, but also behind the line of scrimmage. 10 of his 19 attempts did not go 1 yard or further beyond the line of scrimmage. That's facts. Okay, at least if you believe Pro Football Focus. You know, and the other thing about Rocky Road ice cream is literally this could be a Rocky Road at times because he's a true freshman. So it's nice that he has something to build upon. It's nice that he had a good game running. He did enough in the passing game that he should be encouraged. But, I don't know that he's going to start against Clemson. I assume at this point he will. We'll have to get an update on Tyler Van Dyke. But, I wouldn't mind him starting against Clemson. I don't want him to have a setback in his progress. And I assume Josh Gaddis understands that even if Miami falls behind by 3 touchdowns at halftime, that having Jakari just drop back constantly and trying to throw the ball down the field, like, that's not going to be him. And Miami fans might be upset about it if Jakari does start, and Jakari is the guy who's there. If we do happen to be down by 3 touchdowns, not out of the realm of possibility, considering that happened at FSU, that they'll still be running the ball, and that Jakari will still be doing design quarterback runs and running the offense, and that would be smart, by the way, because what this is about isn't, again, it's not about this year. Everyone's so focused on, hey, it feels so great to beat Georgia Tech and get a win, This is about next year and beyond. This is about getting guys ready to play and win championships in 2 to 4 years. This is about having 2 freshman starters in the offensive line, having a true freshman starter at linebacker for the first time, having Jakari Brown make his first start as a true freshman at quarterback. And so these are building block pieces. And what you want to do is, if you can beat Clemson, great. But if you lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns and you see signs of progress and the team doesn't look awful in the loss, and did some nice things, to me, that's okay. Like, that's okay based on where we are. The reality is this is a not very good 5-5 team. This team didn't magically all of a sudden become great at Georgia Tech. Okay? It's a team full of issues. Nothing's been fixed. Nothing's been cured. But in this game, at least for one weekend and one Monday, Matt Shodell can smile. I don't smile, but inside here, I'm smiling somewhere, and say, I did see progress. I see a quarterback who can make plays running the ball and throwing the ball. I see a running back in Jalen Knighton who next year can be serviceable as the 3rd string or 4th string running back behind Trevante Citizen and the portal guy who's going to start, and maybe Henry Parrish. So there's signs of hope. Bring in some free agents. You see some younger guys that are sort of starting to make some plays on offense. And the offense has been the problem more than the defense this year. I know the defense has its own issues. But if they could fix the offense, that'll help the defense a lot, because longer drives on offense, you sort of get ahead of the chains and ahead of the sticks and ahead of the score on offense. It makes the defense feel a lot better. You can pin your ears back and go get the quarterback, things like that. So fixing the offense is the number one goal, honestly, looking to the future. And I think that the offense showed some positive things in this game.
Man, you got long-winded there. All right, so
because you let me talk, it was a big mistake. Don't do that.
I know. I'm gathering my thoughts. All right, here's the thing. Okay, there was one agenda at Georgia Tech, and that was getting a win. Okay, anything else, any personal considerations or anything like that, were all secondary in this particular game. These coaches don't want a losing record. They don't want to have the stain of not going to a bowl game. They are going to do everything they can here down the stretch to make this happen, and that meant winning 2 of the last 3, and they had to obviously have the one yesterday. So Georgia Tech's playing a quarterback that clearly didn't belong out there. He was horrible. Okay, so on offense, Miami did not need to do a whole heck of a lot. They weren't going to need a ton of points to win the game. It's very similar to the Virginia game, and they took the game kind of to the mud a little bit, and it was going to work. I mean, Miami had a better team, Miami had better players, and Miami was going to win the game. This game, playing the way they did with Jakari. Now, what I feel bad for is some of the residual damage. The receivers, the tight ends, kids that also work their butts off year round for these games that aren't really, other than Jalen Knighton yesterday, getting to do a whole heck of a lot. Jalen Knighton had 16 carries, 118 yards. It was a great reawakening day for him. Jakari had 19 carries in the game. Okay. Thad Franklin had 3. Lucius Stanley had 3. Brashard Smith had 1. Brashard Smith caught 4 passes for 37 yards. So at least he got 5 touches. Didn't get to do a whole heck of a lot, but he got 5 touches. But, how about like Colby Young, who's still in developmental mode, who showed so much at times this year, 2 catches, 19 yards. How about Will Mallory, who we know is a very good tight end who could do so much more. 1 catch, 22 yards. Jaleel Skinner, 1 catch, 4 yards. He's not really getting much opportunity to develop at all this year. Restrepo's back at full speed. He's supposed to be the best receiver, the leading receiver on the team. He caught 3 passes for 10 yards in this game. Okay. So there's a lot of residual damage going on here because Miami right now is not fielding a full-scale major college passing game. And, I was kind of surprised, Matt, because there was a lot of division amongst the fans about what everybody saw in this game yesterday. And, I saw exactly what I said. Coaches dialing everything back, making sure they get a win, that they're not turning the ball over, that they're not doing stupid things that are going to allow Georgia Tech in the game. And they are just getting their victory and going home. And that was fine. And that was okay. But Matt, there's a lot of people out there that wanted a big picture of this thing. And we're kind of jumping way ahead in terms of exactly what they saw and what was the reality of the situation. And I was really surprised by that because it was pretty clear what Mario Cristobal and Josh Gaddis were doing yesterday. And they should be applauded for it because it worked and they got their win. But if anybody thinks that this in the big picture is even close to what the Miami Hurricanes can look like on the offensive side of the ball, especially this weekend when they go to Clemson, there's just a lot of flaws in that thinking. So I think you got to take the positives of the game, be very happy with the win, be very excited for Jakari for being able to handle what they gave him and being able to win a game in his home state, close to his hometown. And it was a very feel-good, happy day in Atlanta for the Canes. In the big picture, Matt, there's a lot of work left to do. And one of those things is going to be figuring out this situation at quarterback. And I think that was part of the equation, was starting to figure out what they have in Jakari and figuring out just where he might fit as they go into the offseason, because they got to make transfer portal decisions. They got to try to get something done with Tyler Van Dyke to where he comes back next year. We don't know yet what's going to happen with Jake Garcia. There is Peyton Matosha, what's going to happen there. There is total, complete uncertainty at quarterback. And you couldn't really attack it without really knowing where Jakari is right now in his development. And I think they got a pretty good read on that in the game on Saturday.
No, they didn't, but that's okay. I mean, they had him do very little.
They have an understanding where he is right now. And Mario
based on this game, no, maybe based on practice, but based on this game, they didn't even haven't tried to do a heck of a lot. So,
well, that's my point. That means they didn't think he was ready to do a whole heck of a lot. They gave him a very tight game plan.
The reason why you seem confused, and maybe some fans do seem confused about the reality of this team and where it is off of this game, is the team has looked just so awful at different times that to get a blowout win where Miami was actually an underdog, was remarkable, right? And it's cause for celebration. And everyone now in the country's wrong. They thought we were going to lose this game. We killed them. We're a different team than everybody thinks. When in reality, I hate to say it, but Georgia Tech really, in some respects, did help hand the game to Miami. You can't argue that fact. To me, Georgia Tech was just flat out awful. If Miami ever played a game, I don't think Miami's played a game, by the way, as bad as Georgia Tech played this game, okay? Even the game that Miami lost to, I'm not going to bring up the name of the team, but it was a non-Power 5 team. Even that game, I would argue Georgia Tech played worse in this game. Georgia Tech did nothing good in this game. And if you look at the grades from Pro Football Focus from these experts, and they're backed up by other experts who look at their grades before they publish them, for instance, Miami ran for a ton of yards. Jakari was great running the ball, and Jalen was great running the ball. Well, guess what? The run blocking, at least according to these experts, was pretty terrible for Miami.
Understand that, but
the Miami defense missed 10 tackles. The run defense wasn't great, but Georgia Tech couldn't run the ball because Georgia Tech's terrible. the pass rush was average at best. I think the best score was a 70 point something, which is good, but not great. And Georgia Tech, even with protection, couldn't complete passes. The freshman quarterback was terrible. Their freshman quarterback was terrible. So Georgia Tech certainly helped Miami, which brings me to this. We're going to find out a lot more about where this team is against Clemson. We could have said, we felt we learned against Florida State. We felt we learned many, many times this year what this team is and where it's going. But again, as you want to get some upward trajectory going, it seems like maybe Miami's found a little something with a new quarterback, a new starting linebacker who can actually seem to, maybe make some plays. Just the energy that that Wesley Basaintes brings, just as a freshman on linebacker, with other guys feeling like, hey, we got to help him out, we got to step up. Freshman quarterback, hey, we like him, we got to step it up and make sure he's okay and is comfortable, and we have to make plays for him. Not that they don't want to do that for Tyler Van Dyke or Keontre Smith, but Tyler Van Dyke and Keontre Smith are supposed to carry the team. There's something to be said mentality-wise when a team feels like every player has to step up and help somebody else. It makes you feel good when you help somebody who needs help. Jakari Brown, the team recognizes, hey, he needs help. Wesley Basaintes, the team recognizes, hey, he needs help. It makes people innately feel good to empower somebody else, to help somebody else. And that, I think, is what we saw in some respect, because there's a really nice energy about that offense, and just how they sort of were working together in that game. Even when things didn't always go right, they would just get right back up and sort of, it just seemed like a nice synergy on offense, if that sounds possible, because it just seemed like in the past it was so obvious to us that this was just a dead-eyed team with no energy, a team that didn't seem to want to be there, a team that wasn't having fun. You see Jakari Brown, he hands the ball off, and Jalen Knighton runs for 10 or 15 yards, and Jakari's celebrating like they scored a touchdown. That's infectious. It is college football, and sometimes a team like this that has no energy needs a kick in the butt. And guess what? Jakari has that energy about him, and that youthful energy and that excitement. Wesley Basaintes, same way. And maybe they needed that jolt. But again, Clemson's next. There's no amount of energy that's going to come from a true freshman that's going to help Miami against Clemson, but this was a step in the right direction. It would be great to see another step in the right direction. Lose by 10 points and look good? I am super happy with that. I know fans are going to be like, what are you talking about, lose? That's not a Miami mentality. You don't lose. If you're a Miami Hurricane,
That's
you
what
have to want to win every game.
Year,
well, I'm telling you out there, this is not about this year, okay? I know Gary wants to go to a bowl game, whatever else, great. I'd be happy with a bowl game at this point. But more importantly to me is I want to see progress these last couple of games, especially from young guys, energy, see the culture instilled, see some excitement, even though the season's gone. If they can show excitement and want to play for each other, that's a building block that will progress in the spring and progress next fall and help the team next year. And then the year after that, assuming they get the recruits we think they're going to get, I think that team can be really, really, really good in 2 years. I know Miami, I know, Gary, you want to take every transfer out there to make this team an 8-win, 9-win team next year. But that's
you agree. Like, you're all over the place. Like,
no,
last week we go through this exercise, and I say I think there'll be 20 to 30 guys go to the portal. You tell me I'm low, that there's 30 to 35. So 30 to 35 are going
35 players are gone. You take free agents and freshmen,
okay.
not
transfer portal retreads. But now you're sitting here talking about you got half the team that's going to be gone, and you're talking about building a culture and showing progress. This whole program is starting from scratch on December the 5th. Okay, like you can't, like, you're all over the place. I don't.
What did I say? Say one thing. I said it's all over the place.
On one hand, you're talking about building for next year. On the other, you're acknowledging that half the team is going to be gone. So you're not really building anything right now. They're not building. They're trying to survive these last few weeks and get to 500.
Let me explain.
So they don't have to have the embarrassment of not going to a bowl game.
For the Gary Ferman Cretan Club out there, I'm now going to explain myself to you, okay? I expect 35 players plus off this roster to be gone. What they need to start building, and I think we saw some of it maybe start at Georgia Tech, we don't know yet, is a culture for whoever's returning to pass along to the new guys that come in, free agents and freshmen, not the retread transfers that Gary Ferman loves from last year, of which 4 worked out of 12, okay? That's what I'm talking about. You bring in a ton of new freshmen, leave 5 or 6 open spots. That's fine, because you have unlimited in 2024 too. I don't want to take a plan B and plan C guy in this class when you can take all plan A guys in 2024 if that's the case. 2024 is loaded. And that's how you get to a championship team in 2 to 4 years. You don't have to fill up to 85 this year, okay? You can lose 35 guys, take 25 recruits, take 5 free agents, and start building and keep those 5 or 6 spots open. Use those extra spots for 2024. It's going to be great, but they have to do it the right way. And that's not by taking Gary Ferman retread transfers who are back up somewhere else that want a new start, and maybe they could start at Miami. Like, that's not for me, bro.
Where would this team have been this year? It's already a bad enough season. What if you didn't have Messidor? What if you didn't have Agude? What if you didn't have Henry Parrish?
First of all, you don't need Agude. But I said 4 people are the ones I would have kept out of 12. 4 out of 12.
Okay, but you have to go.
You mentioned guys.
You have to go to bat to
Messidor, Daryl Jackson. I would have kept.
Yep. Yeah. Where would you be without Daryl Jackson?
Henry. I said these are the guys I would keep. They took 12. I said I would have taken 4.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, "Oh, I'm only going to take 5 transfers, and it's only going to be the best guys that you're commenting on after the fact." You're being a Monday morning quarterback. They took 10 transfers because they thought all 10 would make contribute.
12.
Okay, they took 12. I'm sorry. They took 12 transfers because they thought they would be contributors this year. They didn't sit there and say, "Oh, Antonio Moultrie, you're not going to be that good."
Let me talk for 1 minute, because this was the problem I had when they took them. If you could keep quiet for just 1 minute, because this is important. This is important because this is what Mario needs to do now.
You're testing me, I'll tell you that. You're talking about building a culture on a team that half the players on the team aren't going to be here in 2 months.
I know you feel it's important to win 8 or 9 games. I don't care about that. I want to win 11 games
as opposed to winning 5
in the future. And the way you do it is not how Mario did it when he got here. When he got here, he said, "Man, we got to at least have a decent team. We can't,
of course, you do
fall down a rabbit hole." But he went about it, in my opinion. If he could do it over, I think he would. If he knew now they'd be 5-5 and staring at what they're staring at, I think he would have done it differently. I don't think he would have taken a lot of these guys that they're just guys. They're
I think he would have taken more. How about that?
Well, he would have taken more.
He said so himself the other day.
Yeah,
he would have taken more.
But you're taking that out of context. He said that because of injuries.
Taking that out of context.
Yeah, he said because of all the injuries, we needed even more guys. Okay, but the truth is,
no, that's not what he said. He said he wished that he had taken more.
Well, that's troubling. If he's going to take more transfers, that's troubling, because this is not about taking leftovers from other programs. Okay, this is about being a national championship contender in 2 to 4 years, and you don't build that with second-team guys that are elsewhere, that are stuck here for 2 or 3 years on this roster. You build it with top freshmen that you can develop here. You build it with free agents, not transfers. By free agents, I'm talking about guys that you outbid other teams for, that have already proven they can start somewhere else. Because every transfer they took, except for 2, if I counted correctly, which would be Messidor and Daryl Porter. Maybe Daryl Jackson was a full-time starter, but only those 2, I think, were full-time starters last year. Maybe Agude started a bunch of games too. But, I don't need the other 8 guys who are backups or at UAB. Like, I want starters at Power 5 programs who prove themselves, who are now free agents. Better yet, make them sophomores, redshirt sophomores. That's who I want to bring in, because I'm looking at 2025 as being a championship-level team. And if that's not his blueprint, if his blueprint is take anybody we can get to maybe 8 or 9 wins and maybe try to compete for the, to be one of the top 2 teams in the ACC, and, no, man, compete to be the best team in the country. Prepare to be the best team in the country. Nothing short of that does anything for me.
And now my man Jay Collette is going to be doing a fist pump here, because I'm going to get ready to use his favorite phrase, and that is, Matt Shodell, you can walk and you can chew gum.
Oh my gosh. This is Zen. Let's all enjoy this Zen.
No, okay. No, okay. Wait a minute. Okay, stop.
You took yourself off the screen.
You got me all rattled here.
We all know what you're going to say.
You can walk and you can chew
tobacco and spit tobacco at the same time. I heard you.
Yes,
I know.
Yes, you can have a team that can win 8 games, 9 games, and still build to be a championship team a couple years down the road. You don't have to be a bottom feeder. You don't have to be winning 5 games. This isn't tank for Tua in college, okay? There's no draft choice that you're jockeying for. You get the same number of scholarships as everybody else, and everybody's now anyway. And whether you win 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 games matters, because it helps you in recruiting when you are winning, okay? And so no, it's not insignificant. And that's why Mario would have taken more transfers had he realized the way this season was going to go, because it does make a difference to him whether he's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 game winner this year, and it would be making a difference in recruiting. And they are having a hard time in recruiting now. They're trying to hang in there, keep the class together, and now they have to go out and try to add to it. But the losing that they've done here this year is making it more difficult. So obviously I don't agree with you, but it's fine. We don't agree on much anyway. So I will keep fielding.
Do you know why?
I'm not even worried about your opinions. You want to know why?
Right.
Because I know Mario is going to field the best team he can field. So like you could keep saying, stop taking transfers, Mario. Stop taking transfers, Mario. He's taking transfers where he feels he needs transfers. So I'm not even worried about it. I want to see Miami put the best team on the field every year. And part of the equation in today's college football is taking transfers. Should Jim Larinaga not take Nigel Pack, for example?
That's a free agent. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the guys you take.
Or Omier.
Of course.
Those are free agents. Not have taken those? Two of the best players in the ACC that he brought in as transfers to put a true freshman out there because he's building.
You're confused.
This basketball team is serious this year, and it's because of the transfers to the point where right now they signed one high school kid on signing day this year because they know that the transfer portal is the place for them. And it's going to be the same for football right now until they get this program rocking and rolling to the point where they can dominate at the high school level as well. And considering where they're at, they're doing pretty darn well. They just have to hold on to what they have. All right. So as this all pertains to what we saw Saturday at Georgia Tech, Matt, I think we do both agree that it was nice to see them get a victory. It was nice to see the happiness. It was nice to see the excitement amongst the players. It was so much better than the alternatives that we've seen way too often this year, including just a week earlier against Florida State. So I think that's one thing that we both agree on. Your final thoughts about Saturday's game?
I mean, everyone's already tuned this out listening to your nonsense. There's nobody even listening. What's the point? Why should I say anything else? You don't even understand the difference between transfer and free agent, which I keep explaining to you every time.
Audience.
What's that?
You're talking now. There'll be a spike in audience.
There's nobody even listening anymore. I mean, you're spouting off about the basketball team, trying to compare it to the football team.
I'm trying to show you something that you're wrong, but you don't want to see it. You just want to go off on the transfer portal every day on the show. You hate the transfer portal. I get it.
Because you still don't understand the difference between transfers and free agents. Transfers and free agents. They paid a fortune to get Nigel Pack here. That's what the football team will need to do to get a guy who's a star at another program to come here. It's a perfect example of what I am trying to say, not your point, which is
the Life Wallet NIL budget's been increased from 10 to 15 million to do exactly that.
You're still not even understanding how you need to build this program. And if Mario Cristobal wants to bring in guys who don't require any NIL money because they're back up somewhere else and want their chance here, you're all for it if it helps them get a few more, a few more chances.
Doing, Matt. He's looking for Daryl Jacksons. I'll take 5 Daryl Jacksons.
Daryl Jackson is a very good player. However, I'm not going to say Daryl Jackson's not a championship level player. He very well may be. But when they did take him, that's not the kind of guy I am looking necessarily for Mario to take, simply because he was good at Maryland. But in this current NIL age of free agency, there's going to be teams out there that are already putting together giant amounts of money that are going to be playing, that have rosters much better than Miami's, that are going to be adding those 4 or 5 free agents next year and the year after and the year after, where there's major stars at other programs that will move onto a new program and win a national championship. That's where Miami needs to get to. Like, is Daryl Jackson that off 1 year at Maryland where he was average there? No. Does Daryl Jackson have the intangibles where he can be an outstanding, amazing player? Yes. But to be a national championship team with NIL here,
you're getting 2 to 3 years out of him, Matt.
I understand. That's why I said I would still take him. I would still take him. But I'm saying, when I say free agent, what I'm trying to explain to you is they need to get the roster to the level where you have a bunch of Daryl Jacksons at all different positions, but then add those 4 or 5 free agents and not take these backups from elsewhere for depth. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not seeming to understand it. But like, there's going to be a massive quarterback exodus some year in the future, maybe even next year, and Miami will have to probably be in that mix of just like throwing money around, trying to see who will land here. That's a great player somewhere else. Like, every year now, there might be 5 to 10 quarterbacks who are really good starters somewhere, if not great starters somewhere, that are like, let me test the free agent market. because I know how much money I'm getting here at Ohio State, but maybe Mr. Ruiz has made $10 billion and he'll give me a 10 times more money to come to Miami and run a national championship team there. Like, that's free agency, man. What Mario did last year and what you keep seeming to think he should do is to take guys who are like, okay, in another program, like at a Maryland, like, or whatever, a lower level program, that, have 35 tackles, I think is what Darrell Jackson had his freshman year. And like, bring them here and hope they develop, because, hey, they're 6'5" at 300 pounds and they can, they're pretty quick. So maybe he'll be an amazing player. But you also have the opportunity to throw a lot of money around, that's somebody else's money, and bring in a guy, from FSU, from Alabama, whatever, and pay him twice as much as he's making there to come here. Like, and he could be a sophomore too, by the way. He could be a redshirt freshman. He could be Brian Boursay. It could be anybody. This is what college football is now. College football now is not taking 12 transfers with one of them from UAB, with Jacob Lichtenstein, who's never found a role anywhere. You could go down the line, like Mitchell Agude, great, but he never had more than 4.5 sacks, if I remember correctly, anywhere that he's been. The guys that you mentioned, Akeem Messidor is the only one who was somebody. He was somebody. That was a win, man. That's the only free agent, the real free agent, championship level free agent they took out of those 12. That's 1/12 of your roster of transfers, and 12 transfers out of 85 guys. That's a pretty decent percent of your whole team. So you've got to get free agents, not just backup transfers, and then get the freshmen who are studs, which they're doing. And the way you do it is NIL. And that's unfortunate because Mario is a great recruiter and he would win out on these guys head to head. He's proven it time after time, every stop he's been. NIL throws a monkey wrench into it. The good news is John Ruiz is there, and they've got to make sure that in addition to Mario doing the great recruiting and the staff doing great recruiting, that the money's there. Because if it's not there, it doesn't matter what Mario does. And if the money's there and Mario doesn't do his part, it's not going to work either. So it goes hand in hand. Great coaching, great recruiting, money. That's the new formula, man. And you got to do it with recruiting and with money. And that's what they're going to do. But again, I'm not going to rehash everything. Everyone stop listening anyway. So go ahead, Gary. Go ahead and disagree with me.
All right. So we're going to get off the Georgia Tech victory now. We're going to get off the transfer portal, and we're going to shift gears here in a moment and talk about recruiting, because we have a lot of recruiting news on the site today. But first, let's hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
Hi, I'm Nigel Pack, and when I decided to come to Miami, I knew I had to pack, including my Life Wallet. But you know what else I'm going to pack this upcoming season? I'm going to pack the house. But today, I'm going to stand here and make another trade.
The feed to Pack. He throws another. Give it to him. His third from the corner pocket. When he was persistent at Oklahoma. Nigel Pack again.
Never leave your home without your Life Wallet. Saving time, saving lives.
And then Miami men's basketball team's off to a nice 2-0 start to their season. They won again on Friday night against UNC Greensboro. So congratulations to Jim Larinaga and Nigel Pack and his crew. It's clearly going to be a very exciting season. All right, so a ton of recruiting stuff has been going on. Matt, we haven't had one. We had a CaneSport right now show after the Jaden Rashada decommitment. Obviously, that was not a good development for Miami, but over the weekend they were able to talk Tommy Kinsler out of visiting Florida, which was a good thing. I mean, there had been rumors he would be considering the Gators. There were rumors that he was going to Gainesville this weekend. They talked him out of that, so that was a really good thing. We also have an update today on Jakari Brown through the eyes of his dad, Selwyn, the former Cane. Jakari, very high priority cornerback prospect. I've already put my recruiting prediction machine pick in for him to go to Miami. We are anticipating a Jakari Brown commitment to the U, or at least I am. Matt, you spoke to Selwyn, and did you come out of that conversation feeling any differently?
I mean, look, Selwyn's not going to say what his son's going to do. Miami obviously is very high on Damari's list. I think Damari will be a Miami Hurricane. I don't think he'll be going anywhere else. And I think that Selwyn will be very happy if that is the case. But, But it's odd now because it's almost like once you get out of June and July, it just seems hard to get commitments. These guys, if they're not committing before their season, get out of the way. Like a lot of guys want to do it before their season just so they don't have to worry about it. So the season goes on. A lot of schools, the idea also is if you have some sort of crazy injury in your senior season and you've already committed, that school hypothetically is supposed to honor your scholarship, and they could put you, hypothetically, if it's career ending even, on an injured list where you basically get a free education for 4 years and just can't play, like what happened with I think there was who was it? The last one was maybe Curtis Justice at Miami, something like that. But anyway, that's if it was my child, I would actually have them commit before the season, just for that reason. If that is a school that will do that, a lot of schools will say, yes, listen, if you commit to us now, we know you want to come here. We will take care of you if you have a career-ending injury your senior year of high school. Those that didn't, either they want the drama of signing day, or they're not sure. It's one or the other, or else you've already committed. And the ones that want the drama of signing day, well, you're going to get a lot of these tweets that go out, huge announcement coming tomorrow, or huge announcement coming soon, and they announce their top 30. And then the ones who just aren't sure, well, what's going to make them sure? They're playing their senior season, which for some kids some prospects, not kids, they're young men, is now going into the playoffs. Some of them have already finished their seasons. But for the ones going into the playoffs, that's what they're focused on. And for the ones that have finished their season, well, a lot of them still have visits they can take in December if they really want to. So what's the rush? Have some fun, take your official visits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Jakari Brown is done with visits, according to his father. Jakari Brown doesn't seem to be about the drama. So my thought on Jakari Brown is he's just not sure. I think if Jakari Brown was sure, he would have already committed. I really do believe that, just from things I've heard and different sources, which is a little worrisome. But I would say that Jakari is 95% Miami and maybe 5% somewhere else. I think Florida State's really trying to get some ideas into his head and things like that. So we'll see. I don't think it goes to signing day. I think he can and will commit to Miami. But when he does it, and when any of these recruits do it, it's funny. Like some people go on Twitter and say, stay tuned, big commit coming. Somebody did that I think a week ago, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
And we heard the same thing. We heard 2 prospects were going to commit, and they didn't. And that's why we don't really put it out there, because it's not great for the program, because let's face it, opponents also know who these recruits are. When they hear, so and so is going to commit, they hear it through the grapevine. They immediately pick up the phone and call that recruit. Hey, don't do it. Come back here. We're going to make a better deal for you. Whatever. So it's in this day and age, it's almost not good to share information we have, which is a shame, because all we want to do is share information with you guys. But again, we ask everyone, be patient. We think very good things are going to be coming. We've already told you we think Damari Miami's in good shot with. We have another update with Samson Okunlola this morning. We think very good shot with him. But again, until they actually sign, committing's great. Until these guys actually sign, people can be throwing around money like crazy. People can be throwing around rumors like crazy. It is going to be a nuts next month, especially December 1st when they start the home visits up through signing day. It's going to be crazy, and fans aren't going to hear the numbers being thrown around financially, the money being promised, but it's going to be astronomical. I mean, we're talking 7 figures for top recruits. Okay, that's not a joke. That's crazy. To me, that's crazy. It also bothers me, for instance. It shouldn't bother me, but Jakari Brown played really, really well. He got everyone really excited, and so of course John Ruiz tweets out, "Come Monday, he's got an NIL deal," which is great. That's great on the surface. But as a reporter and just having covered this team for so many years, what I think about is, does this make everyone else in Miami selfish? Does this make everyone else in Miami say, I need to have an amazing game now. I need to be the starting running back getting 20 carries, not that guy, because I need to feed my family. I need to turn on the lights for whoever, my cousins. I don't know these people's situation, but for some of them, I'm sure they need the money. These are college student athletes. Some of them come from great, financial situations. Some of them don't. And the ones that don't are pretty desperate, I would imagine, to help their families. And when you see somebody saying after one great game or one good game, even depending on your perspective, we're going to be throwing a lot of money his way come Monday. That's pay for play at its core, right? Randy Shannon would have loved this. Just kidding, Randy. But it is. It's pay for play, and it's legal now. And I don't know how that affects the locker room culture. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it still stays a cohesive, tight team, and players who get to pay for play will split it 85 ways. I don't know, but on the surface, it's a little it's a little disconcerting to me as a reporter.
All right. Well, I'm sorry that you're upset that Jakari is going to get a little money for his.
I knew that was coming.
I'm sorry that bothers you.
I said it can be great, but it also can be this.
But I'm surprised that he didn't already have an NIL deal. So if he didn't, then he's going to get one. That's a good thing. But anyway, getting back to the news of the day, Matt mentioned Samson Okinola, and there is not a bigger target on the board right now. 5-star offensive tackle. This guy is a house. Okay, like he's the guy you put it at left tackle, and for 3 years he's protecting your quarterback, and hopefully he's never getting sacked. That is the level of player that Samson Okinola is. So make sure you check out that update. He's not ready to commit yet. He's going to put out a top 5 and go through the motions here pretty soon. We think Miami's doing pretty well on a continued basis with him, but this has been going on for months now, and he hasn't committed. So it's got to get to the point of a commitment for sure as far as the Hurricanes are concerned. All right. This morning, we will have a lot of news for you. We'll have a couple sessions with Mario Cristobal that we'll be reporting on. We're going to talk to Kevin Steele. We're going to talk to Josh Gaddis about his big game plan on Saturday that gave Jakari Brown a victory in his first collegiate start, and try to get some clues as to where Miami might be going at quarterback as it heads to Clemson. So that's going to do it for today.
Hold on. Uno más, por favor.
What?
So I didn't get my DNR. Somebody,
I know people go to work now. They've heard enough from you this morning.
All right, so forget it. Forget it.
All right,
I'll do it tomorrow.
We think we have something to look forward to now, everybody.
What's this DNR?
Matt's going to do his next bit. He's going to do his next comedy bit tomorrow. So make sure you tune in to Good Morning CaneSport tomorrow morning to hear his next comedy bit.
It's not comedy. It was a DNR. It was the opposite of comedy.
Oh, yeah. That could definitely wait till tomorrow. All right. That's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you so much for starting your day out with us and putting up with Matt. For him, I'm Gary Ferman. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you again on this show tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.